The story of the film begins in England in 1830 with a poor orphan child, and this child's name is Oliver. And we see him with an old man named Bumble, who is a caterer in the church. We watch Bumble take Oliver to the orphanage because Oliver's parents are dead, and having Oliver in the orphanage isn't free. And if Oliver wanted to live in the orphanage and eat and drink for free, he should have worked for them. Oliver, he was not the only one, but there were many children like him, and they were present in the orphanage. And in order to eat and drink and sleep, they had to do the work that they asked of them. The owners of the orphanage treated the children badly, and were not only interested in the children, they were interested in getting money from the work that the children did. The children worked all day, and the orphanage gave them little food, not enough for them. The children who were present in the orphanage were complaining of lack of food and extreme hunger because of the children's complaint to the owners of the orphanage. The owners of the orphanage made a lottery, and whoever wins it gets more food in the lie made by the owners of the orphanage. Oliver wins it, and at the time of eating, Oliver asks for more food. The owners of the orphanage, when they heard that he was asking for more food, beat him severely. The owners of the orphanage have cast lots to find out which children are complaining of lack of food. Then the orphanage workers took Oliver to the principal to punish him. The director of the orphanage files a case against him, and in court, when he indicates the judge watches him, mourns him, and decides to release him. Meanwhile, the director of the orphanage sells Oliver to a person named Supri. He sells wooden coffins. Supri takes Oliver home with him, and he treats Oliver very well and kindly. But Sub's wife hated Oliver. One day Oliver goes to sleep, but hears someone banging on the door. When he goes out to the door, he sees a child older than him, and his name is Noah, this kid works with. So Oliver leaves him and enters the house one morning. Oliver and so go to the shop to work with him. And when the work is done, Oliver closes the shop, so notices that Oliver was very tired and had no energy left to work. While Oliver was busy with work, Noah was talking to him and started mocking him, so Oliver attacked and beat him. So Noah decides to take revenge on Oliver and goes to the servant of the church Bumble and files a complaint against him, against Oliver, and everyone gathered to find out the reasons for the fight. So Sub knew that Oliver was the one who was wrong, but Sub was shy of Bumble, so he decided to hit Oliver, who was sad and oppressed by him. Oliver knows that Sobra will get into many problems because of him, so he decides to leave home and immigrate to London. London was 70 miles away from Oliver. Oliver knew that leaving for London was tiring and difficult, but he was forced to do so, and Oliver kept walking to London for long distances and times. He kept walking until he lost consciousness, but fortunately he was close to one of the houses, and there was an old woman in the house, so she took him to her home. She used to offer him food and drink and kept taking care of him. But Oliver did not want to stay at her house, so he decided to thank her and continue his journey. Oliver walked for a week until he reached London. When he arrived, he had no breadwinner, and he did not drink or eat. There were traces of wounds on his feet due to walking for long periods. Oliver watches a child his age, and this child is skilled in stealing. He tells Oliver that if he wants to live, he must learn to steal. This child steals bread in front of Oliver without anyone seeing it, and this kid asks Oliver to come with him to teach him the art of stealing. Oliver is convinced and decides to go with him, and they enter a house where there are many children who are skilled in stealing, and these children were led by a man named Fagin. Soon Oliver joins them and feels comfortable and safe. He ate the good food he liked and slept comfortably. Fagin takes care of him and teaches him to steal without being detected by anyone. Fagin's team also consisted of 2 girls. Rose and Nancy and Oliver liked to sit with them because they loved Oliver. After a period of time has passed, Oliver masters theft, and Oliver was ready for his first robbery. Meanwhile, Oliver and Charlie were ready to rob someone who was reading books. Oliver watches as Charlie and his friend rob the man who reads books, but the shop owner watches them rob the man who reads books, so Oliver flees. With his friends, the owner of the shop, along with a group of people, ran to stop the thieves. Oliver reached a big person, and this person hit Oliver and dropped him. So they took Oliver to court on charges of theft. When Oliver arrives at the court, he is ill and loses consciousness when the owner of the shop sees him. He tells the court that Oliver is not the thing thief. Then the judge decides to release him. The owner of the shop was sad about Oliver, so he decided to take him home and take care of him. When the family saw Oliver that he was sick and poor, they decided to adopt him and take care of him. After a period of time has passed, we see that Oliver's life has improved dramatically. He had beautiful clothes, a comfortable bed, and he lived in a big and beautiful house. The owner of the shop decides to send Oliver to excellent schools in order to educate him and develop his skills. Here we see Fagin hitting Charlie and his friend because they left Oliver and ran away. Fagin was afraid Oliver would tell the police where they were. Here comes a friend of Fagin, who is one of the most dangerous criminals. The gang decides to kill Oliver, because they were afraid he would tell the police about their whereabouts. So they sent Nancy to the police station to ask about Oliver, so she knew that Oliver had been adopted by the shop owner. And Nancy, when she found out that Oliver was in the shop owner's house, knew that they might be able to steal the rich shop owner's money and become rich. A general alarm gets from fake gang, and the gang decides to monitor Oliver in order to obtain the rich shop owner's money. After a period of time has passed, Rose sees Oliver in one of the places, so she embraces him and cries for him. She told the people present that Oliver was her son, and she was looking for him, and then take him to Fagin's house. Oliver decides to run away from home, but Fagin managed to bring him back and lock him up and put a guard on him to prevent him from escaping again. And one day, Fagin goes to Oliver and asks him for help in order to facilitate the task of entering in the house of the rich shop owner at night. Fagin and his friend go with Oliver to the rich man's house in order to rob him. But Oliver refuses to help them. He tells them that this man helped him and that he could not allow them to rob him. But they threatened him and forced him to enter through the window and open the door for them. And when Oliver entered the house, he decided to make noise in order to hear the owner of the house and go out to them. Meanwhile, the owner of the house sees them and sets fire to them, and Oliver gets attacked by Fagin, so Fagin takes him home and runs away. They removed the bullet from his body. Meanwhile, Fagin's friend falls seriously ill. He told Fagin that when he recovered from the disease, he would go to Oliver and kill him because of what he had done with them. She overhears Fagin's friend wanting to kill Oliver, so Nancy put sleeping pills on Fagin's friend in order to help Oliver, because she considers him like her brother. On the second day, Nancy goes to the house of the rich shop owner and asks him for an appointment to meet him and tell him where Oliver is, and when she meets, she gives him the address of Fagin's house and tells him that Oliver is there, and tells him that he is not the only one, and that there are more children. She advises him to go to the police in order to save the rest of the children, and here we see one of the children watching Nancy. He overheard it when she spoke to the shop owner, so he went and told Fagin what happened, and when Fagin knew him, he took all the children out of the house. Fagin's friend goes to Nancy and kills her. This is because Nancy has betrayed them, and he has a phobia of betrayal. Meanwhile, they read in the newspaper that there is a person named Fagin who kidnapped Oliver, and that there was a murder of a girl named Nancy, and they found the body inside a house, and that the one who killed her was a young man with a white dog. The police published the description of this killer and asked them to identify him and inform them, so Fagin's friend killed the dog so that he would not be identified, but the dog feels that there is a danger to his life, so he escapes. And a friend of Fagin was unable to leave the house, because everyone knows that he has a white dog. An advertisement spread in the city that the one who killed the girl was the owner of the white dog Fagin, and the people with him are very angry with Fagin's friend because he killed Nancy for no reason. Meanwhile, the dog guides the police to the location of Fagin's killer friend. When the killer sees the police, he threatens them and takes all of her haters with him. Meanwhile, climbing rooftops and moving from one house to another by rope. When he turns around, he finds the dog barking at him. Then the killer loses his balance and falls with the rope and dies after the rope wraps around his neck, and then the police arrest Fagin and his group, and Oliver returns to live with the rich shop owner and lives a beautiful life with them. Suddenly, Oliver believes that Fagin is innocent of the charges because Fagin was treating him nicely, because Fagin was the opposite of the people who treated him harshly. During his life, he decides to go and visit him in prison. He insisted that Fagin was an innocent human being, but he could not help it, and he visited him constantly after that. Oliver lives a beautiful life with the owner of the rich shop. Oliver was trying to find all his friends who were with Fagin, but he did not find them, and this is where the end of the movie ends. Friend.